Here's what happened. It's this fucking iPhone's fault. Why is it the iPhone's fault? Because I was an Android guy forever. I don't know why, but I switched to the iPhone. Everybody praised me for it. Welcome to the club. On my Android, I had an alarm set for 12:30. Every day at 12:30, my alarm would go off, and it was titled Gratitude. But basically what it was either at 12:30, I would sit for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in gratitude, in meditation, in thought, in just concentrating on breathing, something. You ever try and do that? Try and sit for 5 minutes and just say in, out, in, out. Do it for 5 minutes. I bet you can't. I guarantee you can't. Because your mind will wander. You can reel it back in, but I bet you can't fucking do it. Because it's fucking hard.
What the hell's going on out here?
Let's get right into it. What can you control? What can you control? For all intents and purposes, basically nothing. You have zero control over anything. Ever. At any point in time. Except what goes on here. What goes on between your ears. And hell, even then, that's kind of tough. Because you get these thoughts that'll just creep in out of nowhere. Where the hell did that come from? That was weird. That was unnecessary. That was violent. The only thing you can control is up between your ears. That's it. That's all we got. Can't even control our own body. Sure I can. I have control over it. No, you don't. Make your heart stop. Oh, you didn't do it. Hope you didn't do it. You can't. It's the only thing you control is what goes on between your ears, what goes on up in your head, the thoughts you have, and the frequency at which you have them. And even to some degree, that's not entirely true. So, how are we going to use that to beat other people? You have greater control over your thoughts than somebody else. You're going to win. That's how the game's played. He who has the greatest control, or she who has the greatest control over what goes on between their ears, in their head, is going to win the game more often than not. The end. Okay. So, if you've been following along, again, there's no necessary rhyme or reason to when these episodes are going to be released, but for all intents and purposes, this is number 4. I don't know where it's falling or where you're hearing it. I've got a loose outline on what we're going to do with this whole thing. I have an idea between my ears about what I want this to look like, and that's going to change and that's going to evolve. I've got a list of episodes, but I've also got things that just pop into my head when I'm in the shower, when I'm driving. Ooh, I should do an episode about that. Hey, an episode there could tie into that. Hey, this topic sounds something interesting that I would like to talk about. Does that make me an expert on it? No, not necessarily. Shit, is it even going to be helpful, or is it just something you want to get off your chest? I don't know, little column A, little column B, C, all the above, if you will. So I have an outline of episodes that I want to make. One of them is titled, There's Always More Time in the Morning. But at the same time, going off of how we started this, control, you have very little control. So, there's always more time in the morning. It's dark in the morning. If you go outside in the morning, what do you see sometimes? The moon. Okay, so there's my train of thought, how we got to what we're talking about now and wherever this might end up. I grew up, let's say, closed-minded. Sure, why not? It was, you show up, you do work, you get it done, you go home. And that's not a bad way to live. But there's a lot more to it than that you realize as you grow up. Especially as a dude. And a dude who's got 3 emotions, happy, mad, and sad. That's about it, right? That's my range. It's about yay big. Working on expanding it, but again, also it's not my top priority. Happy, mad, sad has done me pretty well. But I saw a meme once. I think I saw it and shared it with my wife. And I don't know if she's ever agreed more in her life with a picture on the internet. And it was something to the effect of, and I'm going to kind of butcher this, but I'm going to get the point across. It was, men don't believe in astrology and moon phases and chakras and all that kind of stuff, generally speaking. Well, yeah, you know why they don't? Because every time there's a waxing gibbous, blood doesn't shoot out of their dick. It's a crude meme. But as crude as it is, I went, huh. Yeah, maybe if every time that there was a shift in the lunar phase, there was a literal and physiological shift in my body, then I might put a little bit more credence into what's going on in the universe around me. So thanks, Internet, for opening up my eyes a little bit. So there will be a later episode on There's Always More Time in the Morning. But that's not where this stream of consciousness is coming from right now. Right now, it's more what you can control and realizing that there's more out there that you need to take account of. Ipso facto, the universe. I don't even know if I'm using that phrase right. Currently, as we're making this, you're not doing it, I'm doing it. As I'm making this podcast, we're going through a remodel. We're going through a really rough start to the year. We're contending with a bunch of things here in my office that were not planned for. So, backtrack when things were smooth. I was less successful than I am right now, but things were smooth. And I had this weird superpower that I have since lost, but I'll regain again. I could literally make things happen with my mind. Now, I'm not going to light shit on fire. What is it? Accepted? Where the guy just makes things blow up at the very end. Great flick, if you want to watch it. But you literally have control of things with your mind. And that's a layman's way of putting it. You have control about how you react to things. Okay? So I would go on and I would tell myself, hey, if Prince came on, something good is going to happen today. And more often than not, something good did happen. It just did. Right now, it's the flip side of that. Every time I heard Prince, something good happened. Every time I wanted to think good things, something good would happen to me. Right now, it's the opposite. I'm in the flip side of that. It's not a downward spiral per se, but the amount of bad things I'm noticing far outweighs the amount of good things I'm noticing. Bad things in relationships, bad things with staffing, bad things at the office, bad things with attendance, let's say. These things pile up. But I can't control it. Cannot. I can't control how my wife acts, how my kids act, how my staff acts, how the person at Quick Trip acts, how the person in the space next to me acts, the person at the stoplight, the fact that it turns green and they didn't notice it quickly enough for my liking. Can't control those things. Can't control that I live in Texas, but everything was covered in ice last week, so this whole remodel thing got put off another week. Can't control it. I can control how I react to it, though. And it is 100% a fake it till you make it kind of thing. No questions asked. Told you before, like when I had this superpower, I had been faking it till I made it enough to the point where good thoughts, good things, good reactions were just a reflex. They were literally just that. But at the same time, when I was in that state, I was doing more mental toughness stuff than I am right now. And apparently this thing is becoming cathartic. Maybe this is more for me than you. But I was reading. I was saying affirmations almost daily. I was working out more routinely. I was eating better and I was drinking less. These are all things that are really easy to do when you're in a low stress environment. But sometimes crappy things happen. And they happen in great succession. So these things that are easy to do in a low stress environment become hard to do in a high stress environment. Silver lining. Hey, you know what? I'm getting more sleep. I don't feel like waking up in the morning to go work out. Cool. There's an extra hour. My 6 hours just became 7. But this is a balancing act that I need to work on. Shit, I've done it before. There's nothing that says I can't do it again. But the thing is, it all starts up here. And it starts with the little things that you do that you put in here. And for those of you that are listening on a podcast, every time I say here, I'm pointing to my head, right? The blob of gush between my ears. So it's these little things that you do regularly, routinely, that build up over time. I just figured it out. Okay, this is a totally cathartic thing. Here's what happened. It's this fucking iPhone's fault. Why is it the iPhone's fault? Because I was an Android guy forever. I don't know why, but I switched to the iPhone. Everybody praised me for it. Welcome to the club. On my Android, I had an alarm set for 12:30. Every day at 12:30, my alarm would go off, and it was titled Gratitude. But basically what it was either at 12:30, I would sit for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in gratitude, in meditation, in thought, in just concentrating on breathing, something. You ever try and do that? Try and sit for 5 minutes and just say in, out, in, out. Do it for 5 minutes. I bet you can't. I guarantee you can't. Because your mind will wander. You can reel it back in, but I bet you can't fucking do it. Because it's fucking hard. Anyway, long story less long, I got an iPhone, transferring didn't go through for whatever, so I got bits and pieces of my numbers, my contacts, my settings, my alarms. Just realizing right now, I don't have that 12:30 alarm. I haven't had it since I got an iPhone. I haven't gotten a reminder every day to sit in gratitude for like 2.5 months now. Thanks, Apple. Your shitty conversion from Android, which I contend after 2.5 months is the superior phone. But also at the same time, I started this being the transition to Apple. I've got to finish it because that's just what goes on in my head. I don't start stuff and not finish. I don't quit. Calvin said to me the other day, Daddy, we don't quit. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. For those of you uninitiated, Calvin's my 4-year-old son. He kicks ass. There we go. I got to set a fucking alarm to remind myself. Because look, you do it once a day, and it's going to make all the difference in the world. Because, again, the only thing you can control are the thoughts in your head. And hell, apparently you can't even control your own schedule. I can't. I got to set an alarm to remind myself to be happy. But you know what? When I do that, then I'm happy more. Then I get more done. I'm more productive. What happens when I'm productive? I beat you. I beat you over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to do it again. And again and again and again and again. Why? Because I have what it takes. Because I've made the determination that I'm the one who's going to succeed. And I'm going to use everything in my power to beat you. And it's going to start with a goddamn alarm on my phone to remind myself to sit and be thankful for the stuff that I have and for the position that I hold and for the influence that I have. I hope I'm going to be an influence on you. That's the goal of this, is to bring other people with me. Now, I'm not going to do it by holding your hand. I'm going to hopefully do it by setting the pace, by setting the standard that you also want to achieve. If you don't want to, that's fine. Go for it. Do it your own way. I hope it works for you. This is what works for me. Being fueled by spite. But again, the only thing that I can control to help chase this spiteful success, if you will, is what goes on between my ears. Because what happens up here is going to dictate everything else. I'm not going to work out if I don't feel like working out. I'm not going to eat right if I don't feel like eating right. I'm not going to do the things I'm supposed to do if I don't feel like I'm supposed to do those things. And if I don't feel like it, it's going to start up here in my head. I know I should work out. I know I should be eating right. I know I should be drinking less alcohol and more water. But these are little things that build up over time. Thoughts are things. Thoughts create action. Thoughts create habits. But it all starts with a thought. Everything that ever is, was, or will be started in the mind. It simply did. So the greater control you have over your own mind, the greater control you have over your life. Like, this is like some serious Tony Robbins shit, but it's not wrong. It's just simply not. I'm going to set a goal to lose 30 pounds. Fuck that. Set a goal to be happy for 10 minutes once a day. That's how you lose 30 pounds. I'm going to set a goal to do a muscle up. Nope. Set a goal to be happy for 10 minutes once a day. I'm going to be a millionaire. No, you're not. You're going to set a goal to be happy for 10 minutes once a day. I can tell you right now, as soon as this thing gets done, as soon as I press stop, I'm setting that alarm. At 12:30 today, Friday, January 10th, I'm going to sit down in silence. I'm going to be happy. And that is literally going to change the trajectory of all this. The freaking remodel, the tenant, the ice. It's going to get better because I said it's going to get better because it's going to start right up here. Remember, those of you listening, here means head. It all starts up there. Thoughts are things. Thoughts create actions and habits. But just like the previous episode I did, again, I don't know how these are going to be released, but the last one I did, I talked about just go. Just get started. Just do it. Do it now. Just start. Take a step. That's the step. I'm going to go on a diet. First step isn't going to the grocery store and getting lettuce. First step isn't throwing out all the junk in your cupboard. Good steps. That's not the first step. First step is to commit yourself to it in your head. Change your thoughts. Change your thoughts, you change your life. James Taylor, a.k.a. Tony Robbins, out. Yeah, I think this was more for me than you, but I hope you got something out of it. Catch us next time.